Welcome to the mindset and actions of a powerful alpha male. I am Skip Cour. In this session, session 3, I will discuss the specific influence, persuasion, and charismatic skills of an alpha leader. In this session, I will explain exactly what influence, persuasion, and charisma are and how they are so important to a powerful alpha male. I will stress the importance of developing influence, persuasion, and charismatic skills in your life to help you get everything that you really want in your life. I will explain why you are always selling yourself and using these skills. The only question is, how effectively are you using them? And I will outline specific strategies that will help you develop your influence, persuasion, and charismatic skills. To start off this session, I want you to write down what immediately comes to mind when you think of these words. And it doesn't matter if they're good words or bad words or somewhere in between. I just want you to write down what immediately comes to mind. Influence. What do you think about when I say the word influence? People, places, whatever words come to mind. Persuasion. Whatever comes to mind, just write it down. Charisma. What do you think of when I say the word charisma? Now, there are no right or wrong answers here. It's just getting a gauge on where you are right now at the beginning of this session. So when I say the word influence, things that could come to mind are politicians, movie stars, rock stars. Affect other people, leader, direction, trendsetter, alpha male, big man on campus, guru, director. For persuasion, get people to do things, sell, trick people, deceive people, scam artist. Leader, lead people, teach people, outline people, direct people. Those could be some words for persuasion. Charisma, power, magic, swagger, confidence, alpha male, energy, power, cocky, arrogant, thinks his stuff don't stink, showy, flamboyant, misguided, a legend in his own mind. What is it for you when you think of the word charisma? My number one challenge to helping you make breakthroughs and improvements in this area of your life is to make you reconsider, change, or adjust your rules, values, beliefs, and standards when it comes to influence, persuasion, and charisma. And what do I mean by that? You think the way you do about these words, influence, persuasion, and charisma, due to the events that have occurred in your life, whether they're good events, bad events, somewhere in between. You've had good role models, bad role models, whatever it is. And you've formed your rules, values, beliefs, and standards when it comes to this. Now, the question is, are those meanings for those words, are they serving you? Are they empowering you? Are they moving you forward without you may or may not be realizing it? Or are they holding you back? Maybe they're not moving you forward or holding you back. You may just not be maximizing your full potential due to your rules, beliefs, values, and standards. You think the way you do because of the events that have occurred in your life, and you will continue to look at these areas of your life based on those experiences unless you think differently. And that's what my job is, to at least have you reconsider, if not change or adjust, the way you look at influence, persuasion, and charisma. The level of mastery you achieve when it comes to influence, persuasion, and charisma will depend on rules, values, beliefs, and standards towards these aspects of your life. So I want to review for a moment what I mean by rules, beliefs, values, and standards. Now, rules are your opinion of what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do in any given situation. It's the rules you made up for life. what you believe to be the right way to act, the right way to think, the right way to even feel during certain situations. Those are your rules, your opinions of how the world should work. Now, obviously, everyone doesn't have the same opinion about how the world should work, what people should think during certain situations, do during situations, or feel during certain situations. Those are your rules, your opinions. Now, beliefs are what you believe to be true in any situation. Your beliefs are really just your opinions, but to you, you treat them as if they were 100% true. In other words, beliefs are just very strong opinions. What you believe to be true for you is true, at least for you. You will walk, talk, think, and take action as if your beliefs were 100% true. Now, what's interesting about this is unless you reconsider, you will act as though your beliefs are 100% true. And being that they're nothing more than very strong opinions, they may be true, they may not be true, they may be serving you, they may be holding you back until you look at them differently than being 100% true. Nothing will change. You'll go about your life exactly the same way. Now let's talk about your values. Your values are basically the priority or importance that you put certain things in your life. Having a good career, how much money you want, how important your health is to you. Having adventure and fun in your life versus comfort and security. Those are all things that many people value in their lives, yet we all don't value them the same. Now, if you had parents that came from the Depression era and they were very financially conservative and they put those beliefs upon you and you accepted them, well, you might have financial security as a very high value. Now, at the same time, you want to have fun. Fun and adventure is very important to you. Yet, it may fall in a different hierarchy or value than that financial security. So you can take another person who has just say those two same values, and they believe in financial security. They also believe in fun and adventure, just like you do, except for they put a higher value on fun and adventure than they do financial security. Two people with the same values in a different order will change the way they go about their lives. So that's what it is, values. It's what you put priority on, but more importantly, it's the hierarchy or the priority you put on those things in life. Now, standards are really similar to your rules, beliefs, and values. The only difference is they are more concrete benchmarks as to what you should be happy with in your life. They're indicators to you that you've established that you should be proud of yourself or you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be happy with your life or you should get to work and work harder. Let's talk about a standard with your health and fitness. How much body fat you might carry. You might be okay until it reaches a certain amount of body fat. And then that's your call to action to get to work and change things up. It might be something in your bank account that you're fine until it reaches too low of a standard, and that's your signal to start saving more money, start earning more money. So standards are what we all have, and that guides our life and what we do and what we don't do. Now, why is this important? Well, everybody, I would think, to some degree believes that you should be influential. You should be persuasive. Those are great qualities to have. That you should be charismatic. That could be great for your life. Yet, we're all not going to value these qualities the same. And how much you value them will determine how much you listen to me right now as I talk about them. When I sell you that you need to become a powerful alpha male, you need to enhance these qualities. You need to practice and exercise them, and you'll get more of the great things that you really want in your life. If you don't value that because of the rules, values, beliefs, and standards that you have in your life, well, you'll take a different course of action. You'll be listening to me a lot differently than the person with a different set of values. So it's really important to understand how all that works to get the very most out of this. Again, my mission here is to have you at least reconsider the way you look at influence, persuasion, and charisma and how it's affecting your life. Reconsider it first, and then if you need to make adjustments or changes to help you get what you really want in your life, then I've done my job here. There's no purpose for me teaching you amazingly effective influence, persuasion, and charismatic skills if you do not think you need them, if you don't put a high value on them. You will not use them if you don't think you need them. So let me ask you a question. When it comes to influence, persuasion, and charisma, how you doing? How's your life in these areas? Are you struggling? Do you know that you really need to listen to what I have to say, and then you need to practice and exercise to have all the great things in life that you really want? Or are you saying, I could work on those, but I'm doing better than most. My life is okay. I'm getting what I want. Are you already doing fine or pretty good when it comes to influencing and persuading other people to help you work towards your life plan? My question is that really true? And when you compare yourself, who are you comparing your abilities to? Are you comparing your abilities to most people? Are you looking down at those people struggling and saying, hey, I'm doing better in these areas than those struggling people? Or, and this is what I'd like you to do, are you comparing your abilities in influence and persuasion and charisma to the man you really want to be, who has all the options in life that you really want? It's about maximizing your abilities, not just settling. And I want to share my journey towards understanding the importance of influence, persuasion, and charisma, and getting what I really wanted in my life, because I did not understand the importance. I did not understand the value of how my life could change if I focused on this direction and then I practiced and exercising, developing my skills. I convinced myself that I was doing okay. People liked me. I was doing okay. I was doing better than most, until I finally just had enough. I looked at myself as, wait a second here. I am hardworking. I have so much talent. I have so much accomplishments. People like me. I'm handsome. I'm charismatic. I have all these qualities and skills, and I've worked very hard for them. Yet I'm not getting all the things in life that I really want to the level that I really want it. There's something wrong. I had to look deeper. And I want you to look deeper, because if your story is similar to my story, you are going to find out that the way you interact with other people, and especially when it comes to influence, persuasion, and charisma, it was the key to me taking on a whole new level towards getting what I want in life. Now, you're here right now listening to me, taking notes on what I have to say as an expert, as a guru. So obviously, to a certain extent, I have a certain amount of influence and persuasion to get you involved in what I have to say. And you've made a great choice by doing this. I have focused passionately on this area for a long time. While you've gone out in different areas of your life, I have sought out after this, mastering this area of my life, again, out of pain, out of frustration. And my pain is your gain as I have focused on this area. With that being said, I knew I had a lot more there. So there's a certain amount of influence and persuasion I already have. And I realize that, and I appreciate that. It doesn't matter, though. You will find out that it's a never-ending journey when it comes to developing these skills. You can never be satisfied. There's always a higher level. And when you practice and exercise, when you continue to focus on this area, even if you are doing better than most or you're doing okay, more options in life, more of the great things that you really want in your life, maybe things in your life that you really want, you don't even know are available to you because you're so far away from them. They will become available to you. So regardless of how much influence I have, regardless of my ability to persuade other people, I know there's so much more I can improve upon. This journey is never ending. So I don't want you to get satisfied. I want to see if your story is my story when it comes to influence, persuasion, and charisma. You see, I didn't think I needed people. I really depended on myself. I created this world where I really only had to count on myself. And it worked out pretty well because I was hardworking, I was determined, I was disciplined. I knew I could count on myself. And when I only had to count on myself, there was less room for disappointment. If I wasn't able to get people to follow my lead or to follow my instructions or to buy into my frame or live the life I wanted, I didn't have to deal with any of that frustration. What I really didn't realize, though, was I was creating this world that was so dependent on me. There are so many resources available to you to create the life that you really want. And we talk about that, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or psychological. There's also all the resources other resources such as time, your energy, your emotion, your creativity, your imagination, your people, your financial resources. People are a tremendous resource that are available to you to help you create the life that you really want. That was one aspect of my life. That was one resource that I did not develop the skills on how to help me get what I wanted. And as a matter of fact, I just overlooked it. And I wasn't living up to my full potential. I wasn't getting everything that I really wanted in life because I wasn't developing the skills of working with other people, learning how to influence, learning how to persuade, and make people want to help me get what I really want in my life. When I didn't believe, we talk about beliefs, I created the belief that I didn't need many people to help me succeed. I had no reason to work on my influence, persuasion, and charismatic skills. And the more years that I did this, the more years I adopted this belief and took action based on that belief, were more years that I checked out. Every year that I checked out was a year that I wasted, that I could develop these skills that I'm stressing the importance of, and I am doing my best that you start working on your journey towards the mastery, you practicing an exercise to help you get everything that you really want. I want you to stop wasting time. If your story is like me, you're checking out, you're trying to do things by yourself, you don't want to be disappointed by other people, you hate working with other people, people are difficult, whatever beliefs that you've developed at this time, I want you to destroy those right now. I want you to learn the lesson that I learned later on. I want you to learn it sooner and get into the game and start this mastery process. How I used to think is I would just do a great job of being a good person. And I figured that if I was a good person, people would help me get everything that I wanted. I hoped people would recognize, appreciate, and reciprocate me being a good person by helping me what I wanted in life. Because I always found a way to avoid working with people, I also avoided things like conflict and confrontation. And I thought I was intelligent by doing so. I would look at myself, well, I'm a nice guy. I don't get into any conflicts or confrontation. That belief that I had caused me to avoid conflict and confrontation. Where if I would have hit it head on, I would have got better and better and better at dealing with it. I would have added more and more influence and persuasion skills to maybe avoid conflict, because let's face it, everybody has different ways about going about the world, getting things done. And that's what makes the world great, the differing opinions. It's how you get people to get on your same page during those inevitable conflicts that arise. Well, checking out for so long, I became ineffective, unskilled at even dealing with conflict and confrontation. It was my belief that that's a good thing to avoid conflict and confrontation. All I did was lose out on all that time that I could have worked on dealing with people. And when they had a certain point of view, how I can use all these alpha male qualities and characteristics that I'm teaching you here today, and also throughout the entire MANformation program, to not just take it as an immediate wall, how to work through it, how to work through the resistance, learn that skill set. So again, I want you to stop wasting time. What will it take for me to convince you to start? What will it take for you to start taking action now rather than later? I did not believe the importance of sales. I didn't believe in the importance of sales enough to get me where I really wanted in my life. I adopted the belief that if I was good enough, I would not need to work hard to effectively sell myself. People would just recognize, appreciate, and want me. I adopted the belief that if my ideas were good enough, I would not need to work hard to effectively sell them on those ideas. People would just recognize, appreciate, and want to use my ideas. I adopted the belief that if my products and services and products that I was so proud of, that I worked so hard to manufacture and create, all my creativity, all my energy went into creating them. Yet, if they were good enough, I would not need to work hard to effectively sell them to other people. People would just naturally recognize, appreciate, and want to buy them from me. I hoped people would treat me the way I wanted them to treat me in my life. All right? I hoped that people would listen to me and follow my ideas. I hope people would give me the best options in life that I wanted. Well, let me just tell you something. Hope is a worthless emotion. Anytime you want to use the word hope, I want you to adopt a better word, and it's a plan. All right? I plan on getting this business started by January. I plan to lose 10 pounds in 3 months. Now, don't worry if you don't make it. People, first of all, they're barely listening anyway, generally. No one really cares if you actually make it or not. No one really remembers. So we don't want to have any softeners. If you're doing that for other people, you don't want to let other people down, or that's some signal to yourself that just in case you fail, that you won't let yourself down. So I hope that I get this business started by January. Start using the word plan, eliminate the word hope. You want to lock yourself in by using those strong words like, I plan on this happening. Deadlines, so important to your success. You don't want to give yourself a way out by using the word hope. So I was hoping that people would treat me the way that I wanted. What's the difference now? Now I plan that people will buy my products. I plan people will use my ideas. I plan on people treating me the way that I want it by using these influence, persuasion, and charismatic skills that I'm going to be talking about during this session. Again, I believed I was the most talented, hardest working, most intelligent, most knowledgeable, most accomplished, most likable, best looking, with the most influential connections, who had the very least to show for it. Again, I could have easily said, well, I'm doing better than most people like me. I'm doing okay. Look what I've accomplished in my life. But it was me compared to me. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to look in the mirror. Are you getting everything that you really want in your life based on your talents, your abilities, your willingness to work hard? You compared to you. I don't know about you. I had enough. I want you to look at yourself as the owner of a pizza restaurant. I want you to think of yourself as an owner of a pizza restaurant. I want you to think of yourself as an owner of a pizza restaurant. Now, the reason why I want to do this is I want to depersonalize this. I don't really want to talk about you. Maybe this isn't a good time for you to look in the mirror and really evaluate, hey, am I really being as influential, as persuasive, as charismatic as I can be? Am I really getting everything in life? I don't necessarily want to challenge you because my point is to help you succeed. So I want you to take a step aside and look at this story and see how this might apply to where you're at right now. So you're opening up a pizza restaurant. Are you going to just open up the pizza restaurant and hope people just show up and come in and buy your pizza? Are you going to be content with just putting it out there, just opening a restaurant on a street and just hope people come in? So let me ask you a question. Do you make the best pizza? If someone were to come up and say, hey, why should I eat at this restaurant? Would you be able to, with total body language congruency, say, you need to come in here because this is the best pizza? Or is that even your style? Or would you say, well, everybody else thinks it's pretty good, or why don't you come in and try it? What would you say? Why should your customers eat at your restaurant? You need customers, right? How many customers do you want? Do you have an idea of how many people you want to influence and persuade to come eat at your restaurant? Or are you going to be satisfied with whoever stumbles in? You need to decide right now how many customers that you want. The more customers that come in, the more money you make, right? The more money you make, the more options you're going to have in your life. Are you going to aggressively fight for customers? Is that your style? Or are you going to take a more passive approach? How aggressively will you fight? Are you going to knock the competition because you know you have a better product? Or are you going to just aggressively talk about, through a lot of advertising, how great you are? What do you even consider aggressive? 1 ad per week? 10 ads per week? All right? What do you consider aggressive? How much time, money, help, we talk about those resources, people, are you willing to invest to aggressively fight for those customers? So why are people going to eat at your restaurant and not at the other ones? Why are you so special? How will you let people know? What if there are 5 other pizza restaurants down your block? What about your building? Is the outside attractive? Is it influential? Does it persuade people to come in? How's the inside? What's the decor like? What's the total presentation? So what's on the menu? What do you have to offer? What makes you so different? How do you differentiate yourself from the competition? Do you let the customers tell you what they like on the menu? Are you really receptive to what other people think, and then you kind of build your style around that? Or do you just put it out there, hey, this is my pizza, this is the best pizza, and if you don't like it, leave? Or are you a combination of both as you run your pizza restaurant? What's your style? Okay, well, think about that. You are not selling pizza. You are selling yourself. You are selling your ideas. You are selling your business. If you don't own a business, you are selling yourself as an employee. You don't just sit back, do you, and hope people are going to come in and buy your pizza? Well, you can't just sit back and hope that people are going to buy your ideas. You as a person, your business. All right? You are always selling yourself. The only question is, how effectively are you selling yourself? Are you even paying attention to this? Are you focusing on this? Are you trying to develop this area of your life? So let's define influence, persuasion, and charisma for this course and for our MANformation program. Influence is power. Influence is the power, ability, or capacity to cause an effect in indirect or intangible ways. Okay? I want you to name a few people who are influential that immediately come to mind, who, without talking to you, without selling themselves to you, that just their presence alone makes you want to be like them. It has an effect on you, an emotional effect. It causes you to do action. That's what influence is. You know, I think of a person like Michael Jordan. So many years after he retires, I'm buying some basketball shoes and he has number 23. That's influence. His influence is long-lasting. Tiger Woods, his influence just playing golf has inspired thousands of people to watch golf on television, let alone play it. It's just because his influence, not telling you to go out there and buy a set of golf clubs, his influence. Now, there are some powerful alpha leaders who have influence. Now, just for example purposes, let's talk about a woman, Madonna. Whether you like Madonna or not, her influence, her just being who she is, had a tremendous effect on how women dressed for years. And she constantly redefined herself. She didn't tell anybody how to think or to act. She was just herself, and it was influential. So let's talk about persuasion. Persuasion is the power, ability, or capacity to move by argument, by plea, or by demand to a belief, position, or course of action. So that's basically a action, an ability, a desire to change a belief of another person by one person. Persuasion. I want you to name a few people that come to mind who you believe are persuasive. First people that come to mind are the religious leaders on television. I turn on the television on Sundays and I see these stadiums just filled with people. Just filled. And these religious leaders have this command to move and persuade them, to laugh, to cry, to raise their hands. Political leaders are the same thing, very persuasive in what they have to say directly to sway your opinion to their side. Charisma. Charisma is a personal magic of leadership, arousing special popular loyalty or enthusiasm for a person. It is a special magnetic charm or appeal. And that's what I'm teaching you throughout this entire MANformation program, throughout this entire course, is when you get your head straight, when you become clear about who you are and what you're all about, when you practice and exercise the skills that I'm lining out, you can't help but become more and more charismatic. You can't help but become more influential and persuasive. You have that confidence in that body language where people just can't help but notice it because you work so hard on yourself. You got your game on. You are charismatic. Now, whether you agree with his political position or not, one person that has been documented by so many different sources, by so many differing opinions, is President Bill Clinton. His charisma, just how he enters the room, how he looks at a person, is supposed to be so energetic, so magic. He has so much charm and appeal that, again, whether the person is his biggest enemy or his biggest supporter, they all can't deny how charismatic Bill Clinton is. I firsthand, when I worked on the set of the TV show Nash Bridges as an extra, and the lead actor and the producer of the show was Don Johnson. And, I would see Don Johnson on television, obviously a big Hollywood star. He would be in all the gossip columns, dated a lot of beautiful women. So there was obviously something special about him. Yet I can tell you, when I was in his direct presence, it was a whole different story. His level of charisma, that energy, that presence, that charm appeal was something I would have a hard time describing. You would have to be there. It was just amazing to me, and how everybody responded. The energy level just went up the moment he just walked in with all that swagger. That's charisma. When you practice and exercise what I'm teaching you here in this course, when you practice and exercise what's available to you in the MANformation program, you will develop your charismatic skills just by default. So keep that in mind. You're becoming more and more of that charismatic personality every day. And again, we've made this connection for some of the skills that I developed over time. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that my journey towards mastery is over. Obviously, I focused in this area, and I've worked hard in this area like I'm going to instruct you to do. And I have years that have put me ahead of you, yet by no means am I going to be satisfied, because I realize the more and more mastery that I have in these areas, the better my life will be, the more options that I'll create. And no matter what level you're at, if you're at your local level and you're doing pretty well, how high of a game, how big of a pond do you want to swim in? The levels towards mastery and influence, persuasion, and charisma, it's never ending. And that's for all of us, myself included. So as I stand here as the teacher, realize that I understand that my journey is never over. Anthony Robbins says the quality of your life comes down to the quality of your relationships with other people. You just can't do it alone. I've talked about that before. If you are doing fine going alone, or the majority of your efforts are you are depending on yourself, trust me, you can do so much better when you recognize, appreciate, practice, and exercise these influence, persuasion, and charismatic skills. I would even go on to say that the quality of your life comes down to how effectively you can influence and persuade other people to want to help you. Now think about it. Think about when things are going great in your life, when you got all cylinders running and things happen for you in magic. You're going through those great stretches of time. Yeah, you are doing great yourself. You probably have these disciplines, these standards for yourself. You're coming through just the way you want to. But if you really think about it, other people are involved. It's not just you. Other people are helping you, aiding you, and everything is flowing. At the same time, think about those tough times that you have in your life that we've all experienced, and what we can all learn from. Think about those times. Aren't those challenges created by conflict, discord, the lack of agreement, the lack of ability to get other people who are important to you in your life, who are important to your progress, getting them on the same page to think alike? Again, the quality of your life comes down to how effectively you can influence, persuade other people to want to help you. And I'm going to emphasize that you want to get them to want to help you. This isn't about deceiving people, tricking people, demanding people, strong-arming people, extorting people to get them to want to help you. It's being so smooth and so poised and so elegant in your approach that they want to help you. The better you become at influencing and persuading other people, and the more charismatic qualities you have, the more options in life you will enjoy and experience. Now, I've used that word several times throughout this session, options. Let me define exactly what I mean by options. Options are all of those things in life that you really want. Options can be material things, feelings, and emotions. You do not have to exercise having all the options that are available to you for them to be considered options. So what do I mean by that? You could want the big house on the hill, the most beautiful girl back from high school. You could have to work at the best job offer that's available at your firm. It isn't about you exercising and taking all those when they become available. It's just having the ability to have the best things in life available to you if you want to exercise them. The more you focus on this important area of your life, the better you'll become, just like anything in life. By this time, I have shared with you the importance of developing these skills. And the more you focus on them, the better your life will become. I want you to fall in love with the process of becoming more influential, persuasive, and learning how to be more charismatic. I want you to fall in love with the process. And when you're really in love with something, when you know its benefits, that you can have a great time during the good times when you are winning. You can also enjoy the challenging times when you feel you're losing and everything in between. I want you to fall in love with the process, just like any sports games that you win. Sure, I guess in a way it's fun if you're always 30 points ahead, your team's always ahead and you're winning the game without any challenge at all. But isn't the most fun that you have when the game is a seesaw battle back and forth, when you have to use all those physical, mental, emotional, psychological resources? You have to use your other teammates or whatever it is to come back from being 10 points behind, and you make a comeback, and at the end, it's that challenge that made it so great. You're not going to win all the time when it comes to dealing with other people, and you probably already noticed that. And you are going to enjoy those times where you're on a roll. Whether it's a good time, a bad time, challenging time, or something in between, I want you to get yourself to fall in love with the process, because then this journey towards mastery is going to be so much easier for you. Now, complete mastery will take time. It would be just like going to the gym. You can go to the gym for the first couple weeks. It could be fun. It could be challenging. You might think, wow, I'm a little uncertain on how this all works. Good times, bad times. Well, after 3 weeks, you're not going to be a master. Your body is not even going to be close to its full potential. That doesn't mean you didn't improve the quality of your body. It's a lot better. You're enjoying the process. You're getting the swing. You're feeling good about yourself. So this isn't an all or nothing thing. It isn't black or white. It's not either I'm a complete master and I have everybody just coming to me wanting me give me everything in life, or I'm terrible. I suck at this. All right? The first day of you focusing and practicing and exercise, you're better than the day before. So just understand that complete mastery will take time, just like anything worth having in life. So let's talk about how influence, persuasion, and charisma massively improves the quality of your life. This was a lesson that it took me a long time to learn, and my prayer for you, my wish, my desire, my plan is that you learn this sooner rather than later, that I can shave off tons of time where you may have not realized this like I did. That's my plan here. Everything that you really want in your life that you do not have right now will come from other people, either directly or indirectly. Again, all those options I talked about, material things, whether it's a house, a car, the finer things in life, a fancy watch, or a great deal on those, the money, the resources to pay for those things, it's going to come from other people. Now, your efforts have a direct effect, and everything I talk about throughout the MANformation program, throughout this course, is developing a stronger you mentally and through your actions. Yet at the same time, it's going to come in part, directly or indirectly, from other people. All those material things like the house, the car, the money to buy the house, the car, the finer things in life, or great deals on them. All right? And emotions like love and connection, power, respect, safety, comfort, whatever those emotions that are most important to you, you're not going to necessarily get them all from yourself, directly or indirectly. That love, that connection, that feeling of power, that feeling of respect is going to come from other people. Again, either directly or indirectly. People are important. Realize this right now. To have the life that you really want, you have to realize people are an important resource to help you do it. And if you're doing okay without using people, you could do so much better. Get on the program. Get on the journey towards mastery of influence, persuasion, and charisma to get all those people in your life, that powerful resource to want to willingly, joyfully, and enthusiastically help you get what you want. Your mission is to have other people willingly, joyfully, and enthusiastically help you get what you want. And again, no deceit, no trickery, nothing up your sleeve. Okay? Now, again, there may be some things that I talk about here that I really want you to reconsider your beliefs, because I know the way you think right now. I've gone through this experience myself. I've gone through the experience of coaching men throughout the entire world with their MANformation. I know the pitfalls in thinking. I know where your rules and your values and beliefs and current standards can prevent you from really taking this on, really focusing on it, really practicing and exercising and executing this to help you get what you want. All right, so it may take a little bit of thought on your part of, is what I currently believe really true? You get what you deserve in this world, and you do not get what you do not deserve. You get what you deserve in this world, and you do not get what you do not deserve. You need to take 100% responsibility. If you're not getting what you want, and when it comes to other people, you're not doing a good job of influencing them. You're not doing a good job of persuading them. Take that responsibility on yourself. Quit blaming other people. There is a way. And there are people in your life who have found a way, and you can be one of those people when you start taking responsibility. The question is, if you're one of those people right now, hey, Skip, I'm doing everything I can. My boss is a jerk. Women are like this. It's impossible under this government, or whatever it is that you're saying to yourself right now. Is there anything that you could do differently to get what you really want in life? Again, this is the time to take responsibility. Do you ever notice that there are some people who get maximum resort? Do you ever notice that there are people in this world who get the maximum rewards with the minimal amount of effort? Think about that. It's like they really do nothing, but everything in life seems to be served up to them. However they go about doing this. I want you to think of a person. We all know a person, at least one in our lives, who are like this. Think of a person like this who you know right now, and write down a few words that immediately come to mind when you think of that person. I want you to list 5 reasons why that person who gets maximum rewards for what you think is a minimal amount of effort. I want you to list at least 5 reasons why that person is able to acquire more options in life. And remember, I want you to be a matcher. And I talked about that earlier in this course, as someone who looks for agreement, looks for ways to learn, looks for commonalities in situations. Now, mismatchers are those people who always look for the dissenting opinion, always look for reasons why that analogy isn't perfect or a certain situation doesn't apply to them, where there's so many commonalities, there are so many things they can learn. You're a matcher. You're looking for how you can learn from this situation. You might look at that person who has the maximum rewards, and you might want to say, I can't think of anything good of them. No, for the purpose of this exercise, for the purpose of your improvement, I want you to become a matcher, and I want you to think really hard. I want you to use all of your creative abilities to find out, to think about why they get maximum rewards in life with a minimum amount of effort. Is it their looks? Are they a charmer, a smoozer, a big talker? Can they find a way to gain sympathy from other people? Does their family have influence and then it gets passed along to them? Is it because a superior education, even though you may not think they use it? Is it past accomplishments? They're living off their past. What is it? I want you to think of 5 reasons why that person who gets the maximum reward. I want you to think of 5 reasons why that person who gets the maximum rewards in life with a minimum amount of effort, why they're able to do that, why they are able to get those options. And then what can you learn from that person? More importantly, what can you learn from that person? And more importantly, what lessons can you adopt that will add to the quality of your life? There is something that you can learn from everybody in every situation. We're going to learn from that person. Again, I understand, and this is how I'll tie in once again about rules, beliefs, values, and standards. Many times when you think about that person, you might see a direct conflict in the way you think a person should live their life. And so that's why it's easy to reject the way that they've gone about it. Again, for these purposes, I understand that. That's why I talk so much about rules, values, beliefs, and standards. I want you to reconsider, is what you think necessarily true? Could you reconsider your rules, values, beliefs, and standards and get more of what you really want out of life like they are? Is it better to stay set in the way you are or enjoy a higher quality of life? Now, those are questions you're going to have to answer for yourself. I'm here to rattle things up and to have you think, at least reconsider the way you've been thinking about in the past. Now let's talk about the other extreme. Do you ever notice there are some people who get minimal rewards in life with a maximum amount of talent and effort? That's the kind of person I felt I was. Think about that. People are so talented, so hardworking, so disciplined in their approach, and they get so little to show for it. They're good people. Think of a person like that in your life right now, and write down a few words that you would use to describe them, their personality, their life, their situation. Now I want you to list 5 reasons why that person is unable to acquire more options in life. What is it? Why are they having such a hard time maximizing all the options that all that talent that they have should be allowing them to get? Do they have a poor physical presentation? Are they a lot more intelligent than they come across? Are they really a nice person, but they have a rough exterior that turns people off? They push people away? Do they not take care of themselves? Poor hygiene? Limited vocabulary? Are they too passive? Do they not stand up for themselves? Are they too aggressive? They just don't have a pleasing personality. What is it when you think of that person? And again, why are we doing this? So we can learn and apply these lessons to our own lives. What can you learn from that person? And more importantly, what lessons can you adopt that will add to the quality of your own life? If you are struggling in your life right now, and you are also struggling to pull out meaning of the preceding exercises, you are having a conflict with your rules, beliefs, values, and standards. That's why I emphasize that so much throughout this session so far. There's a conflict there of how you believe the world works and what you really want. The rules that you have right now and the way you're going about them is not getting you to what you really want in life. And you can stay here in frustration, but you basically have 2 choices. Reconsider, adjust your rules, beliefs, values, and standards, or you can lower your expectations of what you really want in life. The way you're doing it isn't working so far, and hey, determination is a great quality to have. How's that working for you so far? You need to at least entertain everything that I'm saying today in this session. Influence, persuasion, and charisma begins with you. Even though we're talking about how you deal with other people and how they respond to you and getting them to willingly, joyfully, and enthusiastically help you get what you want, it really begins with you. Influence and persuasion starts with your thoughts. What you think of yourself, what you think you deserve. If you're good enough, if you have the best pizza, so to speak. It's what you think right here, because your thoughts create that body language we talked about. Your thoughts create your actions. What you do, that's how other people judge you. Your actions create other people's perception of you. So it all starts in what you think of yourself, your thoughts. It all gets presented in your body language and in the actions you take and you don't take. And in the actions that you take and that you don't take. Well, people aren't mind readers necessarily. Some people aren't even paying enough attention to really look at your body language. They might notice it on a subconscious level. What people judge you by is your actions, and that's a result of your thoughts. So it starts with you. If you are struggling in this area and you don't believe in you, it's coming out in your body language, and people are reading it. Maybe not really consciously, not identifying, well, look at his arms crossed or look at his slumped over shoulders. No, they're observing it, and they're taking it in, and they're doing a read on you, even if it's on a subconscious level. Don't blame other people if they don't give you the respect that you don't feel that you deserve. Quit hoping. Quit hoping that people treat you better than you think you are. The best that you can expect for is that people will treat you as good as you think you are. And the rest of it comes down to influence and persuasion to make sure you sell them, just like you sell that pizza at your pizza restaurant. If you are really getting everything you want, then you're probably doing a great job at influencing and persuading other people. If you are not, you're terrible at influencing and persuading other people, or at least not nearly as good as you really want to be to get you what you really want. So you need to take responsibility for the way other people are treating you and what you are and you are not getting in this world. To become a more effective leader, more of an alpha male, to become a more effective leader, more of an alpha male, you must change the way you currently think about certain situations. This comes up time and time again when I work with men all over the world with the MANformation program. It's the beliefs that they have about how they should conduct themselves, and the meaning of the word humble to them. Playing yourself down, not acting better than you really are, not needing to sell yourself as better than you are, and just hoping that other people will notice it, not being too flashy. That's how they see the word. That's how they perceive the word humble. That's their belief on how they should act. And they see that as an empowering, it's a good thing. Let me ask you a question. When you are constantly playing yourself down, playing yourself at a lower level than you really are, and you're doing that for whatever reason so people like you, to make other people feel comfortable around you, okay, you're playing yourself at a lower level than you really are. You're camouflaging yourself. You're being humble, however you describe that to yourself. And then you hope that people don't treat you that way. Think about that. You're playing yourself at a lower level, that you're not quite as good as you are, and then you hope that people treat you the way you really are. How is that supposed to work? All right? For so many years, I would get complimented on being humble. It would be almost the first thing that people would say. They would meet me at some event, and then later on they'd find out I was this national champion bodybuilder in all the muscle magazines, and they would say, wow, I would have never known. You are so humble. And I heard that so many times. It was probably in my mind at that time, one of my greatest qualities, how humble I was. But inside, it was this fire in my stomach, this angst that was building inside. Is why isn't anybody treating me like I'm an accomplished 6-time national champion? Maybe it's because I'm doing such a great job of acting so humble that they don't even know it, and I'm too stupid to buy into the fact that that's a great thing. Why? Because I make all these people feel comfortable? I don't see that as a compliment anymore, by any means. You know, I'm not going to act all cocky and arrogant, and I don't really care what people think. Right now, it's about getting everything that I really want in life. If people buy into my frame, if they like me, great. If not, I'm not going to play myself down to make other people feel comfortable unless they're going to help me get what I want, and that's doing what I want. But the point is, it's not a compliment for me to be humble. I don't see it that way anymore, and I'm just encouraging you right now, if that's your opinion of being humble. And I see that I still stay in contact with the bodybuilding message boards, and they'll talk about a top pro, and one of the first compliments that the 19-year-old guys on the message board will say is that, you know what, he's such a great guy, he's a champion, and I met him at a show, and he was so humble. All right? The masses, the people who aren't accomplishing anything, those are the people who put a value on being humble. All right? You need to connect with the movers and the shakers, the other alpha males, the people who are getting what they want in their lives. They're not going to play themselves down and be humble. All right? So it's that example of the word humble and how that applies to your life. Now, this is one that I talked about before, conflict. Is conflict a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Many men have been taught to be good little boys and to avoid conflict. I was one of those little boys, and I did a good job of avoiding conflict and confrontation. Now, let me tell you, I don't go out looking for it, but if everybody agrees with me, I'm not going to be special and different. I'm going to be living life just like everybody else if I do what everybody else does. There's going to become a point in time where there's going to be some type of conflict, some type of confrontation, some disagreement, however you want to describe it, to what level that confrontation or disagreement will happen. It's going to happen. And you need to learn how to deal with it. If you see conflict as a bad thing, it's going to take you in a certain direction in your life. I don't want that for you. I want you to see conflict as an opportunity to use these influence and persuasion skills to get people to work within your frame, to see things your way. The more you get under your belt, the better you become. The more you avoid situations like this, the opportunities that you're wasting to become better and better at it. So you have one person who potentially could have, in some ways, handled 50 different levels of disagreement, conflict, confrontation. And he successfully avoided all 50. All right, then you have one person who sees conflict as a chance to grow, as to become more influential, persuasive, more of a leader. And he takes advantage of all 50. Now, he might blow it sometimes. Sometimes he might get punched in the face. Sometimes he might get a lawsuit. I mean, who knows? All right? But after those 50 different experiences, he's going to be a better person. He's going to be able to influence and persuade, not even getting into the 51st or the 52nd or the 63rd, where the person who avoided them, he is a rookie. He's a baby. Everyone is going to be difficult. Why? Because he has no practice. He has no experience. Again, those are two examples, especially when it comes to being an alpha male and a leader, leading your own life and leading other people. How do you look at the word humble? How do you look at the word conflict? The major objective of this segment, of this course, is to inspire you to change your current way of thinking, to help you get what you really want in life. Until you do, nothing will change. Now, I've talked so much about rules. I want to give you a couple of examples because I already know from my experience in helping out so many people through one-on-one coaching or seminars when it comes to MANformation, my talk radio show, I already know what your challenges are. And it's my job right now through my stories, through my examples, to get you to whack you on the side of the head, to get you to say, hey, that's me. And until you understand that you're going through the same challenge and it may need to be addressed, your life is going to continue to go in the same direction. I remember I was with a buddy of mine, Cour Ashley. He's a motivational speaker in Australia who, by way of Chicago, and we became friends many years ago, and he invited me to Australia to visit him, he and his family, and also to go to one of his seminars. And it was after the seminar, we were kind of just relaxed. We went to one of these Australian grocery stores, and this was a grocery store that was in a mall. So when you went in, there was the long corridor of shops. There was a magazine shop and then the grocery store. Well, I noticed the magazine shop, kind of stopped in, looked at some muscle magazines, and I just happened to be featured in one at that time. Well, I went in to meet Cour in the grocery store. We did our shopping, and we were near the front of the grocery store, and I said, hey, Cour, I want to show you something. I'm being featured in this Australian bodybuilding magazine. He goes, wow, he's really excited for me. He's a really supportive friend. And he said, hey, go show it to me. Go get it for me. Well, I happened to be standing at a gate. And so I grabbed the gate and I was going to go back out of this grocery store that was in this mall. But this was a gate that you couldn't go out, you can only go in. So it stopped me there. And hey, I wasn't stealing anything, so I guess I could have jumped over it. But in my mind, I had all these rules about what's proper, what's not proper. Look, if they wanted you to go out of this gate, they wouldn't have made it one way, was the rule I came up with in my mind. And I probably had other rules going on in my head because I worked in a grocery store for so long or for whatever. Security is around. I don't want to alert anybody to even make me think that I might be stealing something. So going out through the end gate wasn't an option for me with the rules that I had set up. Well, then I looked to the right-hand side. And, in this small grocery store that was in the mall, there was only one checkout counter. And so I was going to go out that way. And I quickly stopped because there's this big fat woman getting checked out with her groceries. She had a lot of groceries too. And one by one, she's checking out her groceries. And I thought, well, can I sneak behind her? No, this woman was so fat, there must have been an inch between her and the back of the path out of the grocery store. And so that wasn't an option. I guess I had some rules in my head that I can't fit through there. That's the only way out. Boy, I bet she's so self-conscious about being fat. I don't want to embarrass her. So I looked to my left at the gate. Couldn't go there. I looked to my right, to the fat person. Couldn't go there. Looked to the left, looked to the right, and I just stopped there. And Kirk looked at me and he said, Skip, I thought you were going to get that magazine. And I just kind of muttered what was going on through my head. Well, I was going to go here. And he goes, what? I go, well, I can't go through that gate because that fat woman is taking up all the room. Can't even believe I even said this as I think back. And he said, why don't you just go past her? I go, well, look, she's so fat. I don't want her to feel self-conscious for being fat. And he goes, how do you know she's going to feel self-conscious? She might say, hey, look at this good-looking guy kind of rubbing up against me. All right? It was the rules that I attached to that situation, and it totally immobilized me. Now, before you say, oh, Skip, that's so silly, I would have jumped over the counter. I would have just went, okay, it's easy for you to look at my situation and say you would have done so much better. I want you to learn from this. What rules are you making up in your life that aren't necessarily true, but to you, your first line of thinking through all your experiences in life, you create it to be rules? Are they empowering you? Are they disempowering you? Are they at least preventing you from maximizing your potential? Most importantly, are they really true? Are they really true? I want you to think about that as we go through the rest of this session. We talk about influence and persuasion and charisma and the things I'm suggesting that you do before you just latch on to some rules. I want you to think about if they're necessarily true. Let's talk about in my business with email marketing. I have developed a lot of products where I put my heart and soul, books and DVDs, coaching, so many sessions. And on my website, you have the opportunity to sign up, and I send you tips, a lot of free information. There's a lot of free information on my website. Well, I have this email marketing system where I can send anything out to you, all right, whether it's free tips, great advice. I can even tell you what I ate for breakfast this morning, all right? Well, one thing I have that for isn't really just to give you free stuff. This isn't just all about me touching your life with all my passion, knowledge, and experience. I'm trying to create more options for my life too. And I have some great stuff of great value. And my belief now is that, look, if you don't pay for it, if you don't make your investment, you're not going to study this stuff if I give it to you for free. I have so many past references of that. I have to make you pay. You have to step up, or you're not going to use this stuff, and you're not going to know my 20 plus years of experience and my knowledge and save all that frustration that you have and all that overwhelm that you have. You can't figure things out. You can't tap into my knowledge unless I make you pay for it. So I have all these email addresses. And so the question would be, how aggressively do I tell them about my products? Once a week, once every few weeks? Well, I had some rules that I didn't want to be invasive. And so I had all these great products, and sometimes I would be going, I just sent them an email 2 days ago. I don't want to send it again. Until I said, wait a second here. Is that necessarily true? Then I would come up with the emotional decision that I need not only to get you this information, you're sending me all these emails, you want the information that I have. I've created some awesome stuff. I need to create more options for myself. This is a win-win situation. And so based on that emotional decision, I found evidence to back up that emotion. And I found out that people say no 7 times before they say yes. All right. Now, with those rules and those beliefs, those newly adopted beliefs, I said, you know what? I need to hurry up and get 7 no's out of them before they say yes. All right. Now, those are rules that empower me in my business. What's true? Well, what I believe to be true is true. So remember that your rules, your values, beliefs, and standards, how are they working for you? This new way of thinking, new rules, new values, beliefs, and standards will take practice and exercise. Look, if you're 20 years old right now, if you're 30 years old from now, if you're 40 years old right now, you have all these years of practicing and exercise thinking a different way. Now, we already know you want more out of your life. You want to end your frustration, your overwhelm. You want more out of life, like I did years ago. All right? Thinking a new way is going to take practice. If you were to start today and really dedicate yourself like I know you're going to, 6 months from now, that's 6 months of dedication, focus, and practice. It's going to change the total quality of your life in ways that you're never going to know. Now that you've heard this information, your life is never going to be the same again. That I promise you. Yet 6 months is only 6 months of practice and exercise compared to the way you've been thinking for 20, 30, 40 years. So remember, be patient with yourself. This new way of thinking will take practice and exercise. The new actions and interactions with other people, influence and persuasion skills, and all these specific strategies that I'm going to share with you. You're not going to just roll them out and be perfect with them. You might be a little clumsy. You might kind of giggle thinking it's kind of silly at first, all right? It's going to take practice and exercise. So dig in, get ready to practice and exercise. If you work out on a consistent basis, remember, you didn't just start off at an elite level of bench pressing or doing your cardio. There was an awkward stage, but you loved the process. You were willing to practice and exercise, and little by little, you got better and better. And you were better 2 days into the process than you were when you first started. You were better 3 weeks into the process when you first started, even though you weren't to complete mastery. So get ready to practice and exercise. Love to practice and exercise. Love the process. You changing your current way of thinking and doing may take some time, so be very patient. When you love it, it's easy to be patient. You may get it wrong at first, maybe even for a while, but you have to start the process for change. Now, this is what's really important. Just because you have this new appreciation for people and how they're such a powerful resource to help you get what you want, and you know the value of this information that I'm giving you right now, and you're willing to practice and exercise, you're really gung-ho, that doesn't necessarily mean that the people in your life, those important people in your life, are going to immediately see you differently. They may be linked in, conditioned to see you in a certain way, and it may take some time. Conditioning them, training them to treat you differently may take some time. So be patient with them. Be patient with the process. Just keep on working towards it. You know, it would be so easy to rationalize, and during this uncomfortable period of practicing and exercising, going from the phase of not being competent on your way to competency, then to mastery, to get frustrated and overwhelmed and impatient. It'd be so easy to go back and start rationalizing again that, I'm not doing that poorly. I'm doing better compared to the most other people. I want you to resist that temptation and keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize of that life that you really want, because I tell you this, the better you become at this, and better quality people, more fun, more energetic, more beautiful people, more influential people come into your life, more together people, you'll start seeing what's really available out there for you. So resist the temptation to go back to that life you used to have before, and keep your eye on that life that you really want. Now again, I already know you believe what you currently believe, and that's what's getting you what you currently have. All right? I deal with so many men, and I'll do a particular situation that's so counterintuitive to the way they currently think, and they'll say, well, Skip, that's not right. This is the way I think about this, this, and this, and this. I'm thinking to myself, you didn't need to tell me that. I know that by your actions, by the way you go about your life. It's obvious you believe that way. My question is that really helping you get what you really want in your life? If not, you at least need to consider changing the way you think. And that will create a change in the way you act. And that will lead to a change in the way other people respond to you and treat you. And that will lead to you getting more of what you really want in your life And again, it's not what you deserve because you're getting what you deserve. It's going to help you get what you deserve, and it's those things in life that you really want. So mastering influence, persuasion, and charisma. Influence, persuasion, and charisma are nothing more than a transference of emotion from one person to another. Or we talked about that influential person. Michael Jordan inspires you. Man, that guy is awesome. He gets you pumped up. He puts chills in your spine when you watch him play or watch that swagger. It's that emotion that, whether it's like it inspires you to become better or inspires you that, wow, those things are possible for you. If you look at advertising, look at like the iPod commercials. They don't really tell you, look, this is an iPod. It holds this many songs, and it's great machinery, and the technology is great, and it will last for X amount of year. And they don't tell you that. What do they do when they sell it to you? They put you in an emotional state. They have wild music going and wild dancing going, and you're saying, wow, they're transferring emotion to you, and it's influencing. I got to have one of these. Well, what is it? I don't know, but it looks fun. That's what your job is to put that emotion, inject emotion into other people so they want to be drawn towards you. Influence, persuasion, and charisma is nothing more than a transference of emotion from one person to another. People love to go on emotional rides. As one person I know used to say, people are emotion junkies. You just have to link them to the emotion they want most at that time. All right? If they want power, if they want fun, if they want excitement, okay? You need to link them to that emotion to become influential and persuasive. Now, here's the other thing is, sometimes you may need to link them to emotion that they really want, they just don't know it. And you're going to have to kind of make them aware of that emotion. We're going to talk about that. People love to go on emotional rides. That's just human nature. It's kind of like you were to watch a movie and it was just all happy-go-lucky, and there were so many wonderful parts. And the whole movie, the whole hour and a half was that. It'd be kind of boring, even though it's happy. And it's a good time, all right? Same thing if it was a scary movie. You can't have the whole movie scary, right? A movie that grabs the attention, that transfers that emotion to the audience, takes them on a ride. There's good times with bad times and scary times and times of victory and times of worry and defeat. There's love. There's losing the love. The right mixture puts them on an emotional ride. And people are emotional beings. And it's your job to create that emotion in them. And if we talk about influential leaders, persuasive people, or charismatic people, they are putting other people on those emotional rides. This is what you need to do to influence and persuade other people. One, you must get them to trust you, respect you, or see you as an expert. Number two, you have to have congruent body language. Everything you say that made them trust you, respect you, or see you as an expert, you have to show that through your body language. You can't say, hey, this guy's the greatest guy in the world. He knows so much about it. And the guy comes out all meek and mild and talks really low. It's going to break that rapport, that connection. It's not going to be congruent. So you have to have that congruent body language. You must be confident about what you say and do. And people will just naturally buy into your reality. It's not what's necessarily true. It's a perception on their part. So when you get them to trust you and respect you and see you as an expert, you have that congruent body language, and you back it up by being confident. Now you see what I'm saying about playing yourself down, being so good at being humble that they compliment you on being humble. It breaks the pattern. Okay? Again, you don't have to act cocky and arrogant. You don't have to make it from one extreme to another. But if you're the expert, if people should trust you, they should respect you, and you walk out that way, you can't be playing yourself less confident than you really should be. If you want to be a master of influence and persuasion, you must take responsibility for both sides of the conversation. Now, what do I mean by that? You can't just say what you mean and hope that they're going to get your meaning. Words have no meaning. People have meaning. I could say to you, you're such an idiot. I mean, that's a lot different than me saying, you're an idiot. Same words. Words have no meaning. People have meaning. And you need to remember that. And you as the master communicator, you being a person of influence and persuasion, you have to check in and make sure you don't just leave it by putting those words out there and hope that they get your meaning. You have to check in. You have to be responsible for both sides that they got your meaning. So you do those 5 things. You get people to trust you, respect you, and see you as an expert. You have congruent body language. You are confident about what you say. And you get people to buy into your reality, to see the world your way. If you are not as confident as you should be, you're going to need to fake it until you make it. That's a skill set that's involved. And that's very important, is that sometimes you may be the greatest in the world at what you do. You may not realize it until later many times. You may be really great and people had to tell you at first, and then you gain more and more confidence, and you had so much success as a reference, then you can really, really understand your power and your confidence. All right? That doesn't mean you weren't really great at it. And you have to be able to look into the future and have confidence in yourself and believe before you have references. And that's when believing in yourself really matters. And when you don't have reference on how effective or how powerful or how great your ideas are, you need to learn how to become a Academy Award, Oscar-winning actor, to have the congruent body language. And that's a skill set that's involved. It takes practice and it takes exercise. You need to be confident, and you need to be confident in advance by learning how to fake it until you make it. And it's a skill set. It's like practicing anything else in life. Every Hollywood actor did not start off as a great actor. They practice and exercise. And it's so important for you to practice being confident even though you don't have the references yet. And then those references will come to you sooner rather than later. It's a skill set you need to work on. And again, you need to be responsible for both sides of the conversation, not just what you throw out there. Check in, be sensory acute to if they're getting your message. Religious leaders could be a force for good depending on your religious beliefs, your rules, all right? Cult leaders, I guess by just the word many times, cult has a negative connotation. Again, that depends on your rules and your beliefs. If you belong to a cult, you may see that as a good thing, I guess. All these people have this way of influencing and persuading other people through a certain set of skill set. Political leaders, coaches, employers, and managers. All right? You might want to jot some of those down. Look for role models. Again, and they don't have to be necessarily from your religious persuasion. And when you look at leaders, for example, political leaders, I mean, there's a lot of things you can learn from both sides of the political spectrum. Even go back in time and look at a person like Hitler, who you may totally disagree, is what was it about him that I could learn about how did he become so influential and persuasive? You can learn from all influential and persuasive leaders. Again, this isn't about to put judgment on what anybody's doing as right or wrong. This is about becoming a better you, looking for every opportunity to become a better you by looking for these sources. So look at religious leaders, cult leaders, political leaders, coaches, employers, and managers. I guess the question would come down to, are these forces for good or forces for evil? And I put you through many exercises throughout this session for you to look at that, how you define certain words, and what you pick up from these leaders. Are they forces for good or forces for evil? The biggest thing you need to remember, whether you think someone is the biggest scam artist or the biggest force of positive change and hope in the world, you need to remember something. As a leader, they believe in what they're saying and doing. And what you need to take from that is You must believe that about yourself. You must believe that person you call a scam artist, or that person you see as the most inspirational person of hope and influence in the world. They believe in what they're saying and doing. Don't put your beliefs, oh, there's no way they believe in that. They're just scamming you. They believe in what they're doing. It is so absolutely important for you as a powerful alpha male to believe in what you're saying, because you have to become congruent. Now you're thinking, well, how can certain people adopt certain beliefs? Well, I'm going to talk about that. You just need to take right now is that you need to gravitate towards anything in your life, any story, any situation that proves your point and your beliefs. And you stay away from ones that you're not quite certain of. All right? Take all the examples, analogies, and stories that support your idea so you can be 100% congruent with what you're saying to other people, and that's how you become influential and persuasive. All leaders believe 100% in what they're saying and doing, and you, as an effective leader, must believe 100% in what you're saying and doing. They get themselves to believe in their heart and soul, their mind, body, and spirit, in every cell of their body, that what they are saying and doing is right. I'm a big Seinfeld fan, and George Costanza, he's known as a character who always lies about every situation, what he does for a living, and all different aspects of his life. And he had one saying when Jerry was in a situation where he was going to embarrass himself in front of this girl he was dating because he watched some nighttime soap, and he really didn't want to admit to it that he was all addicted to this show. And the woman that he was dating just happened to be a police officer, and she looked at his body language that he didn't watch this show, and she said, "Hey, why don't we go down to the lie detector at the police office?" And so Jerry was a little bit nervous about the whole situation. So who did he go to? He went to the guru, the expert of lying, George Costanza. And so George gave him some advice. He said, "It's not a lie if you believe it." Now, why am I telling you this? Leaders, you have to believe in yourself 100%. You have to be able to spin certain stories. Whatever's going on in your life, you must believe it. And how can people believe such wacky things? Is they can spin the story in a manner that serves them. What is a spin doctor? I touched on this in an earlier session. A spin doctor is usually in political terms. You'll see a political leader give a speech, and you'll have one person from one political party. They'll take all his words and his meaning, they'll spin it in a way that empowers his party. And then you'll have the other spin doctor on the other side that takes those same exact words and meanings, and they'll spin it in a way that discredits that political leader. Same words, same actions, same references. They just were able to spin the direction in a way that serves them most. That's what you need to be in your life. When I talk about all these rules and beliefs and values, is the woman, will she be offended if I sneak by her because she's so fat, and how dare I try to go by her? Or can I spin it, I'm going to do her a favor and rub up against her. I bet she's never rubbed up a guy like me lately. I'm going to give her a little thrill. The bottom line is, there is no truth. There's no meaning. I guess I'll know if she slaps me in the face or gives me a little pinch on the way through. But the bottom line is, do I want to get that magazine for my friend Cour or not? Again, you as a master of influence, you as a master of persuasion, are your rules serving you to help you get what you really want? What's ethical? What's unethical? What's pushy? What's too aggressive? What's too demanding? What's obnoxious? What's selfish? What's conceited? What's arrogant? Again, you're creating those rules, values, and beliefs, and if you're not getting what you want in life, I want you to reconsider what those words mean to you. Are they necessarily true? And it's all about being congruent. Once you get that belief in your head, then your body language and your thoughts, words, and actions will be congruent, and that's what we want. To be influential, you must have 100% congruency. And if you aren't getting what you want, there may be some incongruency there. Again, every thought you have causes a physical reaction in your body. There's 100 muscles in the face. They all contort in a certain way when you have a certain thought. You can say something to someone, and then you wonder, why aren't they believing me? Why aren't they following me? Why aren't they getting on board? Maybe there's some incongruency there. You can't say, well, they're not a mind reader. How do they know I'm lying? They know. Take responsibility for that. The trick isn't to become a better liar. The trick would be to make sure your rules, values, beliefs, and standards all align, or you're a great spin doctor to make sure all the stories, references that are going on in your own head all align. Your thoughts and physical actions that your thoughts create can cause people to come closer to you, or those very same thoughts and physical actions that your thoughts creates can get people to move away from you. What do you think and the physical reaction it causes in your body, and whether it causes people to come closer to you or move away from you, it's not universal. And what do I mean by that? Is that everybody doesn't see things the same way. The way you act may be seen as a good thing by some people and a negative thing by other people. It's not universal, all right? You need to remember that. What you also need to be more empowered to believe is that there are many patterns that are common amongst most people. So if you were at school, and I'll use this analogy, if you were at school and you're preparing for a test and it was going to be a 100-question test, if you remember back in school, usually the teacher would pound the same 80 questions over and over and over again. So if you just halfway paid attention, you knew that those 80 questions were going to be on the test. And if you were just to study those, you do pretty well on the test. Now, what makes the difference on how well you do is how you do in the 20 that they may have talked about. That may take a little bit more research and distinction. The bottom line is that the vast majority of them have already been taken care of you, and they will lead you to a decent grade if you just focus on the commonalities, the slam dunk basics, and you get all those down. Well, when it comes to dealing with people, there's a lot of those slam dunk commonalities amongst people, even though everything isn't universal. Now, we talked about this when you communicate. Only 7% is your words, and I use that example as you're an idiot or you're an idiot. You know, it's not words that only has 7% of the way you communicate. The way you use the tone of your voice qualities make up 30% of the way you communicate. Again, when I said, you're an idiot or you're an idiot, again, that voice tonality is a more effective way of communicating your true meaning. But even more than that, the way you move your body, your physiology takes the vast majority of the way you communicate to other people. The message that you send, whether you influence and persuade them to move closer to you, to willingly, joyfully, and enthusiastically help you get what you want, or you push them away where they're disinterested, they're ambivalent about helping you, or even worse, they're going to do everything to get in your way. Again, it's really important that you understand how you communicate to others and you take total responsibility for that. So let's talk about the 5 steps that will influence and persuade anyone. All right, this is for every situation. I'll kind of throw some things off, but you go through this, you practice an exercise. I want you to break this down. I want you to look through every situation in your life and see where this can apply. It's universal when dealing with other people. Number 1, you must know exactly what you want to happen during every interaction. And you must know it before the interaction even begins. You must know your outcome in advance. People of influence, people who are able to persuade other people, people who exhibit attractive, magnetic, charismatic personalities, they know what they want in life. They don't just show up and hope it turns out okay. It may appear that way sometimes to you. Trust me, people of influence know exactly what they want in every situation, every interaction with other people before it even begins. And some people are so good at this, so much practice and exercise over the years, that it becomes a subconscious type thought. Well, if you're good at it right now, it may be on a subconscious level for you. If you want to take it to that next level, you will have to break this down, at least for a while, on a conscious level. Break it down. Practice and exercise. Go to school. Pound the fundamentals, and that's how you'll get better. Number 2, you must know exactly what you want the other person to do at the end of the interaction before the interaction even begins. Number 3, you must build rapport with the other person by identifying them, complimenting them, telling them pertinent stories that they can relate to, giving them appropriate metaphors and analogies that they can understand. You can build rapport by mirroring and matching, and we'll talk about that term a little bit more, with their body, their words, their voice qualities, and everything else needed. People like people who are like them, and basically building rapport is the sooner the better, where you can create a connection, a level of comfort between you. You must build that rapport before you can influence anyone or persuade anyone to do anything that will help you out. Number 4, you must expose their need, even if they don't know they have a need yet. And that's something I talked about before, is you need to connect them to the emotion that they need at the particular time. Many times they may not know it. They might have suppressed pain for so long, and they really want to get rid of that pain, but they're so resistant to that pain. They're so tolerant to that pain. If you're a person of influence and you really believe in what you are doing, you're going to have to connect them to that emotion that they need to feel at that time to help them get rid of that pain. Sometimes you need to expose it. Having them continue to live their life the way they're living it is not what a person of influence, not a leader, would do, just to keep them there. And I've done that many times throughout this session. I've challenged the way you currently think. I've done everything I can for you to reconsider if things are really okay or you're settling. All right? I'm not doing you any favors if you realize that you are settling for a life so far below what you really want 5 years from now. If I can get you to associate with the pain, whether I'm telling you my own story of pain, being open and honest, whatever it takes for you to connect to, wow, that sucks. That's my story. I'm that confused. Boy, I feel that way too with all these conflicting rules, values, and beliefs. It may not feel comfortable right now. My job as a person of influence is to help you feel that pain, to expose that need if I really believe in what I'm doing and I really want to help you. And as a person of influence and persuasion, that's what you need to do. And number 5, you must feel their need. And you must confidently give them a directive. Tell them what to do and when to do it. All right, now tell them, again, is that testing any rules, beliefs, values, and standards that you have? A person of influence, a leader, tells, they don't ask, because they are so confident in what they're doing, what they're all about. So let's break down those 5 steps of influence and persuasion. So number 1, we talked about you must know exactly what you want to happen during every interaction, and you need to know that before. So let's just talk about you're going to a party. All right. Now, when I talk about knowing what you want in every situation, and we're talking about influence and persuading other people, you should get in the habit of knowing what you want out of every situation in every aspect of your life. You should practice and exercise that discipline, that quality right now, not just influencing and persuading other people. So let's talk about a party. Okay, you really want to have a good time. I know what I want. But what's a good time? What's a good time mean to you? What is it exactly? If you can identify exactly what it is you want, what a good time means to you, the better chance you'll have to have a great time at this party. Okay, so you might say to yourself, let's see, I want to be a real alpha male. You know, that's stuff that Skip teaches, that MANformation stuff about that body language. That's really cool. I really want to start practicing and exercising that. I am going to exhibit the most powerful and charismatic alpha male body language during this party. That would qualify for me to have a great time. I want people to respond to me because I'm so charismatic and powerful. My body language is so strong, and what they'll do is give me good eye contact, maybe some hellos, some people I don't know, and maybe a few smiles here and there. Yeah, that's what I want out of this. Again, knowing exactly what you want by identifying that the closer you're going to find a way to use all the resources that are available to you, physical, mental, emotional, psychological resources of people, money, whatever it takes, all aligned to get what you really want. So you're going to get people to respond to you with good eye contact, hellos, and smiles. This is about influence and persuading other people. So let's just talk about specific people. And at this party, you decide that you want to connect with 2 other men there. You want to meet some cool guys, some people that you would really enjoy hanging out with. And you want to get their phone numbers so you can contact them later so you can do some other stuff. You know what you want. You want to find some cool guys that would be fun to hang out with, and you want to influence and persuade them to want to hang out with you. You know that before going in. And maybe it's like you want to meet a really attractive girl at this party that you've identified. You're getting specific. She's an 8+, 8, 9, or 10, whatever that means to you. You've identified that. And you want to get her phone number so you can set up a date. Now, if you have a wife or a girlfriend, you might say, at this party, I want her to have a great time. I want her to know that I'm the man. She's going to see that I'm the man, and that's going to build a deeper connection and respect for me. And those are some of the emotions. Those are some of the options that I want. Well, how am I going to know that? She's going to smile a lot. She's going to laugh a lot. By the end of this party, she's going to tell me what a great time she had. So that's knowing exactly what you want out of a party, right? Pretty detailed there. You must know exactly what you want the other person to do at the end of the interaction. So we talked about those people, what we wanted them to do. The 2 guys, we want to get their phone numbers and kind of set something to hang out with them. All right, and we want to get a girl's phone number for a date, or we want our wife to smile, laugh, and tell us what a great time we had. All right, we know exactly what we want, so we're going to find a way to influence and persuade that situation. So then we're going to build rapport, and that's comfort. Now, mirroring and matching, now there's so much when it comes to influence and persuasion, all the specifics. I'm just going to briefly go through this. Again, people like people who are like them. And so when you meet someone, a way to create instant rapport, something that happens sooner rather than later, not through 5 meetings, not through 3 hours of conversation, people connect with other people on a subconscious level. People like people who are like themselves. Look, you've chosen to be a certain way. You talk a certain way. You dress a certain way. You hold your body a certain way. Somewhere along the line, whether you realize it or not, you made decisions that that's the proper way to act. So when you see someone who walks, talks, acts kind of like you, you must say, something about that person that I really like. It happens whether it's conscious or subconscious. It happens whether you realize it or not. So you're going to use that for you and not against you when you build rapport. Now, here are ways to cause discord or break rapport. You know, I always see this when people shake hands and someone will come up and shake someone's hand and the other person has a soft grip and they have a real hard one and they'll say, come on, shake my hand. Give me a really hard shake. Come on, that's just how you shake it. Give me your hand. And it's like, you know, look, if they shake your hand in a soft manner, obviously they must think that's okay. All right, this is not the time to give them a lesson on how to shake hands. They obviously don't agree with you, or they would shake hands that way. All right? And they certainly don't want you to instantly break rapport from the moment you meet them. A handshake is to create instant rapport. All right? You want to match the handshake to what they give to you. All right? Remember that. Okay, another thing is the way you talk with other people. We'll talk about words. All right? You know, if someone comes up to you, hi, how's it going? You know, you don't want to say, hey, I'm doing great. You know, look, if they were that kind of person, you're gonna freak them out. You know, they're gonna think, oh my God, this guy's out of control. All right, and you certainly the other person, you don't ever, hey, speak up, come on, what'd you say? Look, you want to create that instant rapport, and you don't want to break it. If you listen to any of my talk radio shows, I have all different kinds of personalities calling me up. In the first, I have some guys, hey, how's it going, Skip? And I'll say, I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. How about you? All right. At the same time, I'll have another call and they'll say, hello. How you doing, Skip? I go, I'm doing great. How you doing? Who's this? I'll match them, create instant rapport. All right. So with the words, it could be the type of words that they use. You know, if someone it talks in very descriptive or powerful language, you can match those type of words. All right? If they use a lot of slang words, you can throw that in. You know, you want to match the type of words they use. We talked about the same volume, the pace or the speed. If they're a quick talker, you want to match that pace right away because obviously they think for whatever reason that's powerful, that's the way a person should talk. You don't want to have a really fast talker and you talk really slow, and vice versa. All right, so that's how you match the words. With the body, it's the body position. You know, you have these guys that are really alpha males and they're standing up tall and erect and everything like that. You can't walk up to them all slumped over, hey, how's it going? I mean, you match them up. You match up. Now, at the same time, it's a person who's more kinesthetic, more feeling. You don't want to blow them away by saying, hey, how's it going, with the body tall and erect? You can slowly just match them. Gestures, if there's someone who kind of keeps their hands to their side, you know, you want to be all over the place talking, they're going to be going, whoa. Again, conscious and subconscious level, you want to create rapport and not break rapport immediately. Now, eye contact, someone doesn't make a lot of eye contact, all right? And your mom always told you, look them in the eye, just look them in the eye. Well, you know, they may not feel comfortable. You might be freaking them out a little, all right? You want to match the level of contact that they do. Again, at least at the beginning. All right, this is, again, it's to create rapport. Now, there's something called leading, and that's a person of influence, a person of persuasion, an alpha male will do. After they create that rapport, they will lead the person. And only after they build rapport with those same things. You can create that with skill, practice, and exercise, where if they're a slow talker, you can meet them for a while, and then you pick up the pace, and you'll follow of a person of influence like yourself. When you get good at this, they'll pick up their pace. They'll raise their volume. Their body positioning, their posture will change to match yours. They'll start making eye contact. They'll start doing the same gestures as you. You can take over the pace and lead the patterns by knowing what you do. You can pick up the pace with your voice, with more passionate language, with more excited gestures. All right, so that's rapport. It's a very important part, and you shouldn't go any further in the influence and persuasion process until you make sure you spend enough time building rapport. Number 4, you must expose their need. Even if they don't know they have a need, you must apply pain. All right, so how would we do that in that party situation? We want to meet a couple cool guys, and we want them to give a phone number. We want to hang out because, you know, we want to keep our calendar full, right? We want to hang out with some guys of good quality, keep life entertaining. So you might say something like, you know, you're a really good guy. I really like you. Got a good energy about you. Don't you hate it when you really want to go out and you don't have any buddies to go out with? Or you have a bad wingman, some guy who's just a stick in the mud. You know what that's like? Because what guy hasn't felt that way? You know, they're ready to go have a good time, and they don't want to go to a place by themselves, so they're sitting at home watching TV where they'd rather be out. You know, you want to apply that pain, connect them to the emotions of what they don't want to happen as much as they can. All right? Remind them of those times where they really wanted to go out, but they didn't have anybody to hang around with, or they weren't with a cool guy like you, and it was he wanted to go home early and ruined his good time. Connect them back to those bad times, those bad emotions, those inconvenient times. All right? So we talked about maybe with that high-quality girl that you want to meet, or with your wife, while you're having a good time, while you're joking around, you might say something like, you know, isn't it weird? I love times like this. I do not have enough times like this. Isn't it weird how here we are on a weekend, we go 5 whole days of just going to work, waking up, going to bed early. It's like, doesn't that suck? I mean, it should be reversed. It should be 5 days of fun and only 2 days of work. I don't know. Life's screwed up. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't get enough great times like this, do you? And you know what? Sometimes months go by and I don't have great times like this. How about you? They might think, yeah, you know, that is kind of messed up. I mean, life is short, isn't it? And it'll connect to their pain, and they'll think about a stretch of time where, they've been sitting around doing nothing, and really remind them how this is a good time. And you might just want to remind them of those painful times, all right? And then number 5, which is most important, you as a person of influence, of persuasion, you feel that need. So you might say to the guys, the cool guys, and you remind them of all those times where they're all ready to go. They want to meet some girls. They want to have some great time. They're just sit at home watching television in their underwear, or those bad times with a bad wingman, a bad, boring friend that blew their game with their girls or whatever, wanted to go home early. After you remind them, they say, hey, let's go out. We're going to go out next week. Give me your number. I know this one place, a great sports bar, great environment just to hang out, but guess what? There's girls there too, and they got great drinks, so give me your number. Again, a person of influence tells, he doesn't ask. Again, so we expose the need, maybe even the need that they didn't know they had, and then we filled their need. So let's talk about, with the girl or your girlfriend or whatever that is, or wife. You want to make sure that you let them know that, I am so glad that we had this time together, and I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to make sure you have one more good time. We talked about how you go through the stretches of time with not enough good time. I'm going to make sure you have at least one good time, and I'm going to take you out. So why don't you give me your phone number? Again, you don't ask, you tell. You feel that need that you expose that they need it. They don't want those boring times. They want more great times, and you're right there to fill that need. So when you're with your wife or your girlfriend, you don't need to have as much game, but at the same time, you want to link them in. You want to say to them, wow, we need to have more fun times like this. Didn't it seem like we went a whole 2 weeks with nothing fun like this? You're going to link yourself to them and say, I am so glad that I can be the person for you to be with, have such a great time. We need to do this more and more often. And I'm glad that I'm with you and you can provide that for me. And I'm more glad that I can do that for you. Hey, can I get you another drink? Again, you feel that need. You link those emotions, that transference of emotion, and you give them that emotion they need. So work with those 5 steps. Think of other scenarios that you can create and become that person of influence and persuasion. And when you become better and better at that, how can you not be charismatic? The more and more confident you become at these skills, how can you not be more charismatic? Now I want to talk about something fun here, something that I want you to definitely have some fun with and practice with. And it's what I call universal truisms that create that instant rapport. I talked so much in step 3 is about creating rapport. Before you can be a person of influence and persuasion, you must build rapport. Now, these are ways to create rapport and create it instantly. All right. Through my experience dealing with many different people, I've listed what I call universal truisms. Universal truisms are some of the beliefs that people generally have about themselves. Whether they are true or not true, it really doesn't matter. This is what they generally believe to be true about themselves. Now, I use that analogy of preparing for a test where there's 100 questions where they tell you, the teacher basically tells you 80 of the questions that are going to be on the test. And as long as you focus on the 80, you're at least going to do pretty well. And then you deal with the variance or the differences in people's personalities, the differences on the test on how well you do in the 20. But if you want to do well on the test, get the 80, the givens down. Well, here's a whole bunch of givens. When you deal with most people, that can create that instant rapport. Identifying what they believe about themselves when you're getting to know someone is a great way to build that instant rapport. Again, instant rapport meaning that you don't have to have 10 meetings with them. You don't have to sit with them for 3 hours before they start feeling connected with you. This is a way to do it instantly. Each universal truism is followed by a request for their agreement, getting them to say yes. Getting them to say yes, getting anyone to say yes is a very powerful strategy in the process of persuading other people to your point of view. So I'm going to go through these universal truisms. And again, these are things that you can say to anybody. They'll generally believe to be about true about themselves. And when you say that to them and get their approval, they'll say, wow, how does this guy know me? And again, it creates that instant rapport. You're a very passionate person, aren't you? Now, I'll tell you this. Everyone thinks they're a passionate person. Whether that's true or not, again, it doesn't matter. This is your number one slam dunk with everyone. Everyone sees themselves as a passionate person. You're a person who knows what you want, aren't you? You've been told you have special gifts by family and friends for a long time, haven't you? People always tell you how great you are and how much potential you have, don't they? And people have been telling you that for your entire life, huh? You're a hard worker, aren't you? Again, these are things that people either believe about themselves or they want to believe about themselves. And again, to create instant rapport. You're an ambitious person, aren't you? You are a very motivated person, aren't you? You are the kind of person that when your back is against the wall, when the pressure is on, you are at your very best, aren't you? You always seem to come through, don't you? You're the kind of person who wants more money, but not because you are shallow or materialistic. That's not you. You just know that it's available to you with all your talents and gifts. So you might as well get more of it, huh? Money means freedom to you, doesn't it? More money to you means more freedom to do the things you really want in life at your time schedule, doesn't it? Money means freedom from the stress that lack of money brings, doesn't it? Again, these are things that people generally believe about themselves. You bring them up in conversations, you create that instant rapport. And instant rapport is such an important part of the influence, persuasion, and charismatic process. You're the kind of person who does what it takes to get what you want, aren't you? People have always been drawn to you, haven't they? You're a person who instantly makes people feel at ease, aren't you? Now, how many of you guys are out there going, hey, wait a second. He's talking about me right now. Again, instant rapport. You're creative, aren't you? All eyes are on you when you enter a room, aren't they? You are charismatic, aren't you? You have a lot of hidden talents, don't you? Again, these are things people will generally think about themselves. Your hard work is paying off, isn't it? Everyone thinks they're a hard worker. Everyone wants to believe that their hard work is paying off. And wow, what a great guy you are to notice that about me. And to notice it so quickly in our interaction. What are you? Some clairvoyant or something? Wow, you're a real great people person. They're going to feel connected to you. You're the kind of person who can have fun no matter where you are, what you're doing, or who you're with, aren't you? This is your time to shine, isn't it? And again, you're not going to rattle down this whole list one at a time, like rap. You're just going to interject a few key ones. Go through this list and find the ones that are more your style. Maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and practice and exercise. All work and no play simply does not work for you, does it? You're the kind of person who, when you are into something, you are 100% into it, aren't you? People tell you all the time that you have a great smile, don't they? You have a strong sense of intuition, don't you? There's a warm and fuzzy side to you, isn't there? Again, find the ones that you feel more comfortable with, some you could be playful with. Again, this is a way of creating instant rapport. You are assertive, aren't you? That's an attractive quality about you. You are a self-sufficient person and does not always need to be around others to feel good about yourself, aren't you? I mean, who doesn't want to believe that about themselves? People think you're outgoing, but you're actually shy in many ways, aren't you? Now, the following universal truisms should be used only after you build enough rapport and comfort. If you use these universal truisms too soon, the person might get defensive and defend themselves, and it may actually break rapport. And it may be true. You may just want to find a place. And you might say, well, why do I even want to take a chance with these? Well, again, it's not always about stroking people. Again, it's creating that rapport with things they believe about themselves. Sometimes it's pushing hot buttons that create emotions. During the initial phases of meeting you, they will not want you to think that you are unhappy with your life, with their life, for example. Using these too early will break rapport. Using these universal truisms after building trust in rapport will strengthen them and establish you as a person of high social value in their eyes. And some examples of these might be, although you've been told that you have special gifts and talents by so many people for so long, you believe what they are telling you to some level, but you don't believe it 100%, do you? You weren't as outgoing and popular as you are now when you were in grade school, were you? You believe that you can certainly reach your full potential if you just find one or two distinctions that guide you in the right direction, don't you? Finding that one distinction will help you create that minor shift that will get your life to finally go in the direction you want it to, won't it? Your challenge is that you let up when the pressure isn't on, huh? And that's the one thing about you that drives you crazy, doesn't it? You are looking for that one turning point in your life, aren't you? You feel that turning point for you is just right around the corner, don't you? You have a little bit of fear that you won't live up to your full potential, don't you? And how many people don't have that? You know you should be playing the game of life at a much higher level than you've been living, don't you? You are doing some things that you know are pushing people away from you, don't you? You have this deep down fear that all of your hard work isn't going to pay off, don't you? Although you aren't doing all that bad, you struggle with money, don't you? You are working for security in your life more than anything else, aren't you? Sure, you love to be filthy rich someday, but it is security that you want more than anything else. See, you're identifying that's what people want in their life. It's universally true. Security is very important to people. You are the kind of person who, when you're into something, you are 110% into it, aren't you? And if you aren't into something, it's very difficult for you to fake it. You just can't get into it halfway, huh? You are an all or nothing person, aren't you? You are either in or you are out. You don't do the middle very well, do you? The quality of your life is improving, isn't it? There is so much love or passion or drive or ambition inside of you, isn't there? There's so much love, passion, drive, ambition that you aren't able to get it all out of you, huh? Arguments that you have with other people tend to bring you closer, don't they? You're getting what you want. You getting what you want feels like a constant struggle, doesn't it? Success and wealth seems to elude you, don't they? It often feels like you are swimming upstream, doesn't it? It feels like you are banging your head against the wall, doesn't it? Again, universal truisms to create that instant rapport, all part of the influence and persuasion and charismatic skill process. Enjoy the journey. Have fun with those. Those are things that you can do during your lunch hour, with your family, with your friends, with strangers. Fall in love with this whole influence and persuasion process. See how it becomes where you're gaining that alpha male power, that alpha male confidence, and things start becoming easier for you to understand how to piece this all together. It all starts when, number one, you understand its value, you appreciate its value, and then you start practicing and exercise what we're talking about, 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 what we're talking about.